Captain's report, stardate 2747.8. Capricorn Quadrant. Cargo delivery was successful, returning to station. Stardate 2767.6. While moving to the second jump point, we received a distress signal. Starship identifies as the Flying Hierophant, fancy name for a research vessel. Following Regulation 5-3, we will approach the ship and offer assistance if needed. Chapter 1 Approach Vector. Alright, listen up you two. The SOS signal is very basic, so we don't know what is wrong with their ship. Brett and the two engineers are gathered in the bridge of the Leapfrog. You ever go on a rescue mission? He asks the two youngsters with a coy smile on his face. Before they have time to reply, he continues. I've been on a lot of them. Usually they're easy, yet people treat you as a hero regardless. But sometimes people are in real danger, chimes in Patricia. Yes. Oh great, says Nate in an annoyed voice. Trouble has a funny way of spreading. It's kind of like a grease fire. Oh, you know those all too well, Patricia declares with a chuckle. So that's it? Interrupts Nate. You're going to lead us into danger just to show you can still be a hero? Brett looks at him with irritation. It's our duty, remember? Then Patricia adds, wouldn't you want people to come help you if you were aboard that ship? Nate keeps arguing, but it's no use. Both Brett and Patricia have set their minds on helping the Flying Hierophant, so the young engineer is forced to follow along. Captain Brett asks them to return to their position while he scans for the ship. The signal is closer to that star. Won't be easy to pinpoint in all that noise. Brett attempts a sensor scan. The vessel is broadcasting a transponder signal, but since they have stealth plating and there is EM interference, it won't be easy. Thankfully, he has Sensor Ace. 9, a success. Got you, the pilot whispers to himself. Better get my spacesuit on, exclaims Patricia. Oh, no need to rush for that. We'll be there in 3 hours, replies Brett. Hopefully, with a few more scans, we'll be able to piece together a better understanding of the situation. Chapter 2 Into the Unknown. Stardate 2768.0. We are now closing in on the Flying Hierophant. Because of the signal, we can tell the ship is orbiting the star at a slightly decaying orbit, so it will be ultimately consumed in its corona, if we don't do anything to stop that. Otherwise, we're operating in the dark. We've received no communication from the ship and have no idea if people are still on board. However, once we arrive in visibility range, a visual inspection will be possible. I can see my crew is nervous. Patricia has a positive sort of nervosity. I think she sees this as an adventure. On the other hand, Nate is moody. I think the guy is scared something will happen to him. But can't really blame him. I heard losing his hand to mutants shook him for a real long while. Gather around, kids, Brett gestures to the engineers. Behold the Flying Hierophant. Proximity scan results. The Flying Hierophant from Maximus 3 Starport. It's a technology level 13, 400-ton, custom, stealth plus shielded research vessel. We rolled for damage. Sensors, maneuver drive, crew, hold, there's a breach, and there was another crew hit. Brett, Nate, and Patricia are standing in one of their airlocks. Now that they have stopped accelerating, the effects of zero gravity are apparent. Got your weapons? Asks the captain. Locked and loaded, confirms Nate. Got my stun baton, chimes in Patricia. Nate spacewalks to the research vessel, a blowtorch in his hand. Chapter 3 The Derelict. What danger awaits inside the spaceship? We could have pirates, mutants, stranded scientists, a booby-trapped derelict, pirates and mutants, or alien zombies. We got a booby-trapped derelict. we see clusters of fragmentation grenades attached in one of the hallways. They are rigged to laser trigger mechanisms, ready to explode at anyone coming nearby. An airlock is pushed open. We see Nate floating into the derelict. "Looks like the way is clear," he says timidly. "Alright, you two stay behind me," says Brett as he enters the ship. "Okay, after all this time, can I still pull it off?" he murmurs to himself. Suddenly, they hear Patricia shriek into the comms. "Guys!" Distressed, Nate and Brett move to Patricia. They see a body floating in a hallway nearby. He's wearing an armored spacesuit. Brett goes closer to investigate. We have a recon throw. It's successful. "Don't step any closer," says the captain. "This body is rigged with explosives." "I have a very bad feeling about this," says Nate. "Why don't we just get out of here?" Nate throws a leadership test, and he wins. "You know what? You two get back to the ship. I will take the jig and see if I can't cut into that bridge from outside. Something bad happened here, and the system may have the answers." Nate jumps on the occasion to get back to the ship, but Patricia, she insists she wants to accompany him. Using the small utility ship, the man and the woman start making their way to the front of the starship. However, there are debris from the breach floating around the ship, so the pilot will need to be careful. Brett checks his piloting skill. He wants to dodge the incoming debris, but he fails. At one point, the jig is hit by a bigger piece of hull debris. The whole ship is thrown off kilter, knocking Patricia off the vehicle. Brett promptly stops the vehicle, then he goes to help her back. He throws a zero gravity check, and he's successful. Brett easily reaches the woman, then together they propel back to the jig, thanks to his thruster pack. We cut to Nate on the bridge of the Leapfrog. He's still wearing a spacesuit. He's monitoring the sensors for any potential danger. I use my custom deck to see if there's any hazards. There's 11 potential results. But we get the sun, and the sun is down, which means it's calm and there's no solar flares to report. Passive sensors look good, and there are no disturbances on the star's surface. You guys should be safe to keep going. Back to Brett and Patricia. We see them cutting their way into the bridge. Is the bridge trapped? The odds are even, but thankfully the result is no. "I don't see any explosives in this room. We should be clear," says Brett as he enters. "Sensors look damaged, so it's safer to repair them before retrieving the data." Patricia gets out her multi-tool and starts fixing the damage. Helped by Brett, she succeeds on her engineering throw. The sensor board is back in operation and access to the computer is restored. Let's see what we find. Brett and Patricia go through the logs. They learn the ship was actually involved in a battle. The shields were hit multiple times in just a few minutes, and eventually there was a breach. Camera recordings show that a number of well-armed men boarded the research vessel. "Oh crap, they took the scientists!" exclaims Patricia. The recording shows the scientists being escorted to the intruder's ship to be taken prisoner. It also shows a small amount of research material that were taken, while the rest was destroyed using regular hull sealant. "Whoa, those guys are no joke," comments Brett, slightly in shock. "I'm guessing mercenaries, probably ex-military." Meanwhile, what does Nate see? Is there anything alarming? The odds are even, but thankfully, it's another no. Chapter 4, Bystanders on the Run. Back to the ship, Brett quickly plots a course on the navigation console. "Captain, I've never seen you like that," comments Patricia in a worried tone. "I just want to get us out of here as fast as I can." Nate is reviewing the footage. "Yeah, let's move. We were never supposed to see this, and I don't want to end up a prisoner like the scientists back there," says Nate with a shudder. Patricia sits down. She looks scared too. The ship starts accelerating towards the nearest jump point. But on their way out, does the crew run into any problems? I think it's likely, and it's a yes. But what kind of problem? I use a custom deck to figure that out. I get the full. Unknown to the crew of the Leapfrog, a salvage ship arrives in the system and takes interest in the station. Let's see if the ships can see each other. The salvage ship rolls a 5. It's a failure. But the Leapfrog, manned by Captain Brett, gets a 12, so they find it. After a few hours, the sensors pick up a salvage ship heading towards the wrecked research station. The crew all look at each other. There's a moment of silence. Then before Nate can say anything, Brett opens the holocomms. He thinks for a second, then he speaks. Howdy. We noticed you're heading for the research vessel. Trust me, you don't want to get anywhere near that thing. It got hit by some kind of space pirates, and the whole place is booby-trapped. Brett rolls to see if he can convince them. He gets a good result. The salvagers send back a holocom. Thank you, sir. That saves us a trip down there. Guess you guys were lucky to get out of there in one piece. Sensing the man is a long-time ship pilot like him, Brett keeps the channel open and decides to keep chatting. After 30 minutes or so, the pilot of the salvager declares, "Well, time for us to get going, Mr. Cohen. But don't hesitate to send a message if you're ever in the Ribus system." Stardate 2769.2. We have finally reached the jump point, and are ready to plot a course back to Capricorn 2 starport. Ever since we left the derelict, the crew is anxious to enter jump space. We all feel like we narrowly escaped some big trouble back there. Upon arrival, we'll be giving our testimony to the Capricornian police before swinging by the corporate office. It's been a long week. Nate and Patricia already submitted a few extra days off, and I'm considering doing the same. We were all hoping with our information, police can get those scientists free. You know, it's on days like these where I think, maybe retirement ain't so bad. The end. For now.